All right, we're going to go ahead and call this regular city council meeting to order. First, we're going to do a moment of silent reflection, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. All right, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, I forgot. All right, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Jones.
Here.
Vice Mayor McPartland.
Here.
Councilmember Nunn.
Here.
Councilmember Matthews.
Present.
And Councilmember Dodd.
Here. All right, next, we have agenda modifications. The city manager would like to take off item 12A.
I'll move that we remove count 12A from the agenda.
Second.
We have motion, second. Any other discussion? Nope. All right, 12A has been removed. Next thing we have is proclamations and awards. There's none for this evening. So we're going to have our brief announcements done by Councilmember Chris Nunn.
Good evening. Brief announcements for tonight. Friday, December 5th, Sebastian River Area Chamber of Commerce Light Up Night. Various U.S. Highway 1 merchants, 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, December 6th, the Rotary Club of Sebastian Hullabaloo, Craft Hullabaloo at Riverview Park, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturday, December 6th, the City of Sebastian Christmas Parade from Main Street to Riverview Park starting at 6:30 p.m. You don't want to miss that. Sunday, December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day observance at Veterans Memorial starting at 12:30 p.m. Friday, December 12th, Sebastian Police Department movie night at Riverview Park starting at 5:30 p.m. The movie is A Christmas Carol. Saturday, December 13th, is Wreaths Across America, placement at Sebastian Municipal Cemetery at 9 a.m. The ceremony at Veterans Memorial at 12 noon following that. Saturday and Sunday, December 13th and 14th, the Craft Club of Sebastian will have an event at Riverview Park from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And Saturday, December 13th, is Santa's Open House, sponsored by the Women's Club of Sebastian in Riverview Park from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that. Now we're on to the portion of our meeting where we have public input. Anyone who wishes to address the council on anything that's not on the current agenda, please come forward.
Hello. It's my first time here, so sorry.
Your name, sir?
Name is Charles Wright. Address is 801 Williamson Avenue. I come here tonight because I'm new, I've lived here for a couple of years now, but I also have an airplane and a plane at the hangar at the airport. The reason why I'm here tonight is I'm not quite sure. I'm associated with a lot of city councils and in other areas and things and everything is a little bit different. I know in a lot of towns and there's subcommittees that handle certain things. About 6 months ago, a friend of mine, Scott Baker, met with the city manager with Jeff Sebo, the airport manager, to discuss some things that's been happening at the airport and the process that's going on with Sheltair that owns the hangars there. The reason why I'm addressing you guys tonight is it would be, there's a bunch of us residents that want to address the city council and sort of make a request and talk to you about what we could hope would happen. And it doesn't seem like there's a subcommittee that handle, like in a lot of other towns I've addressed, there's like an airport subcommittee that reports to the city manager or reports to the airport manager. It didn't seem like this council has such a thing, or maybe you do. So the reason why I'm here tonight is just to introduce myself, and that hopefully we could get like an agenda item so that we could, the residents could come and address the council and sort of express to you our needs or what we hope you could do for the people that have a flying passion here at Sebastian.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Benton, you have his information. Mr. Sabo does too, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll reach out.
Well, I'm sorry.
They'll reach out to you, sir.
All right, that'd be great. All right,
Thank you.
super, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Damian Gilliams, 1623 US 1. First of all, congratulations, Sherry, on your move finally to City Council. I hope that you stick to your the promises that you put out on the campaign. One that sticks out the most was the fact that you saw what happened with the $1 million that they spent on the stormwater. You saw what I saw, 6 studies, nothing done with the previous 6.
Sir, address the chair, please, not
Yeah.
individual council.
Yeah, I'd like to look at everybody, Mr.
Oh,
Mayor.
that's fine.
Okay. So when I talk about somebody, I'd like to look them in the eye. So I'm not asking for a response. But congratulations. Second, Mr. Mayor, congratulations. I'm happy to see you put forward by the mayor. And I normally wouldn't thank Mr. Dodd or Mr. Nunn, but I want to thank you for moving him and moving Mr. Nunn out because, Mr. McPartland. As a matter of fact, I don't know why he's not here tonight, but he needs to attend to children's services and stop being a politician, okay? There are children dying in this state of Florida, and he covers a big area. The other thing that I want to address is Mr. Brackett, our state rep here in Vero Beach. He's got a very good article in the local press journal, and local governments must be accountable. And it's under House Bill 105. I hope you take a note and read it, because I'd like to come back and dive into that further, because it really pertains to this city and how you treat small businesses and how you handle the rules and the policies and the procedures of this community, but you don't follow them yourself. So I'm not going to dive into all of that. I do want to let you know that I was entertained by doing a public records request to get in the executive minutes of the meeting you had upstairs about me with your lawyer, about how you spent $70,000 to stop me from utilizing my commercial property for a food truck, where I wanted to hire more employees, pay more sales tax, but just to listen to your conversations, not thinking that I would go ahead and take the time and spend the money to find out what you had to say, you should take a look at it. Read the transcript. It's a disgrace. You got vacancies all over the city. And what you're trying to do is you're targeting, and that's what Mr. Brackett was talking about. You're targeting certain individuals, but yet you look the other way. As chairman of code enforcement for 6 years, I understand the code pretty well. And you violate it every day. And I know that the state of Florida changed it, where the code enforcement officer has to get a complaint from somebody. Second, and last and foremost, I know Mr. Stokes, city attorney. I'm glad you got rid of the last one. She should be brought up on charges with the Florida bar. What she did was very dishonorable and unprofessional. And I hope you give this gentleman a chance, because he's got a reputation, and I hope he'll do good things for this community. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good luck.
All right, thank you, sir.
I hope you help the small businesses of our community and let people speak. It's
Yes, sir.
important.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone on Zoom?
No one has raised their hand
All
at this
right,
time.
public input is closed. And we're going to move on to the consent agenda. Council, what's your pleasure on the consent agenda?
I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor McPartland.
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn.
Yes.
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
And Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you so much. Do we have any committee reports? Anyone? Mr. McPartland, do you have any?
No, sir.
All right. Next item is to consider appointments for the 2025 Charter Review Committee. Mr. Benton, or?
Yeah, I can handle this one. So each council member has the ability to appoint 2 members. So to kind of start it off, I figured if you all have your 2 members that you want to appoint, we can get that started tonight. And then I do know that there was an application included in the packet However, I believe there is a member that is going to appoint that individual, so we won't have to take action on that one. But that'll kind of start us off, and then we are still accepting applications for the Charter Review Committee. So if anyone from the public would like to submit an application, do so as quickly as possible, because we will finalize our agenda on Monday at noon for the next council meeting on December 17th. So if we want to go down the line, if you're ready to appoint your 2 members, if not, you still have the 17th to kind of start getting that in place.
All right, we'll go ahead and start with Mr. McPartland. Do you have your 2?
Not at this time.
When do you need them by? Monday?
No, the council members can come back at the 17th meeting
That's fine.
and allocate at that time.
All right, that's fine. Mr. Dodd?
Yes, I do. Grace Reed and Jeannie Hill.
You have those? Ms. Matthews?
Yes, I have mine. Vicki Drumheller and Sharon Herman.
Yeah, turn on, yeah.
Sorry.
There.
Sorry, Vicki Drumheller and Sharon Herman.
And mine will be Scott Libertor and Richard Gilmore.
And I have my 1 at this time. I'll have another one, which is Susan LaRusso.
All right, so that'll fill those 10 when we get those, and we have 5 at large. That's so anyone wants to put in an application to be on the charter review. And the charter is our governing document, so there's things that the public takes a look at, and those are our governing documents for the next 5 years. So if there's changes need to be made and you would like to be a part of that, please join, put in an application, and be a part of the Charter Review Committee. You had anything else, Mr. Benton, on that?
No, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Consider resident position on the Police Officers Board of Trustees.
I'll nominate Mr. Pusher if
I'll second
he's
that.
for that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second on that. Any discussion? No, hearing none? Do we need to call a roll on that? I think we probably should. Let's just call it now.
Councilmember Nunn.
Yes.
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Vice Mayor McPartland.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you so much for that. Moving on to public hearing, item number 10A. Mr. Stokes.
Yes, ordinance number O-25-16, an ordinance of the City of Sebastian, Florida, amending Code of Ordinances of the City of Sebastian by amending Chapter 26, Buildings and Building Regulation, Article 6, Contractors, amending Section 26-161, Definitions, removing obsolete definitions, adding definition for handyman services, adding HVAC to journeyman definition, relocating specialty contractors definition and definition for state registered, amending Section 26-164, amending the title of Section 26-164 to read preemption/exemptions, adding preemptions per Florida Statute 163.211 and exemptions per Florida Statute 489.103, amending Section 26-165, stipulating that persons engaged in business of contracting shall be licensed in one of the license categories as set forth by Florida statutes and the Department of Business and Professional Regulations, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you so much for that, sir. Mr. Esseltine.
Yes, thank you, Council. This ordinance is to address changes made by the Florida Legislature through Senate Bill 1142. It's preempting local license requirements with certain exceptions. Florida Statutes 163.211 has preempted occupational licensing to the state, which supersedes any local government licensing requirements. It stipulates that local licensing is not authorized. Florida Statute 489.117 was amended to allow municipalities to regulate local contractors with license areas substantially correspond with state contractor license categories. So it is now necessary to update Chapter 26, Building Regulations, Article 6, contractors to comply with Florida statutes. Specifically, contractor license definitions that may be in conflict with those in Florida statute, Florida Administrative Code were removed. Contractor licensing preemption exemptions found in Florida statutes were added. Stipulations were added that states persons engaged in business and contracting shall be licensed in one of the license categories set forth by Florida statute and Department of Business Professional Regulation. So staff has prepared a summary of the local license category changes showing which of the existing license categories substantially correspond to the state mandated license categories pursuant to Florida Statute 489. Staff has also compiled a list of definitions for each contractor license category for those license categories found in the Florida Statute and Florida Administrative Code that will be made available to the public. The locally licensed contractors in the city of Sebastian affected by these changes will be notified. So this ordinance is being recommended for approval by staff in order to comply with the provisions of Florida law.
Is there anything else from staff?
No, sir. We're prepared to get out notices to any of the contractors that are affected by these changes. But essentially, the state has preempted any local license categories. We can't create any. We have to strictly go by what the state has in place. But they have allowed us to be able to take our existing contractor licensees, and where they substantially correspond to one of the state categories, they now become that type of contractor. So it's a slight name changes mostly.
All right, very good. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item? Anyone on the building?
No one has raised their hand at this time.
Thank you. Public input is closed. Do you have anything final?
No, sir. We just recommend approval so we can be in compliance with Florida statute.
Thank you, sir. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this hearing. Council, does anyone have anything on this? Mr. Dodd.
I just had, it's really a simple question. If some of the local contractors are reclassified into a classification that requires a state license and testing, are they going to be required then or given a certain amount of time to do that testing? How's that going to work?
So, no, they don't have to do any additional testing. They'll be reclassified into those categories. But anybody that's new, that is trying to become licensed, they will have to take a state test now.
Okay, so the existing contractors that are moved into that category are not going to be required to
more or
go
less
back and take the
grandfathered
test. That's actually good. I just want to make sure that was it. Mr. Mayor, based on that, I move approval.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Motion and a second. Any other discussion?
No.
All right, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Vice Mayor McPartlin.
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn.
Yes.
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you so much. Our next item is item 10B, quasi-judicial public hearing. I'm going to go ahead and open this hearing now. Mr. Stokes.
Yes, this resolution R-25-41, a resolution of the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, approving the replatting of blocks 581, 582, and 583 of Sebastian Highlands Unit 17 to create 162 townhome lots and applicable tracts for Hawks Landing, a townhome subdivision on 20.38 acres located east of Schumann Drive, north and west of the Day Drive Canal, and south of Dahl Avenue, providing for conflicts herewith, providing for Scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you so much, sir. On council, anybody have any ex parte communications? Hearing none?
No, sir.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody, if there are witnesses here, is this going to, all witnesses please stand and be sworn in?
Anybody here?
None? All right.
It's unusual.
All right, the applicant or the agent, are they here? please come forward and do your presentation.
Good evening. My name is Wesley Mills with Mills Short & Associates. I'm the engineer of record for the project. Representing the applicant tonight is FL Site LLC, which is a developer site contractor. Oh, here we go. All right. So the project team is myself, like I said, the engineer of record, and the owner is Florida Site LLC. The landscape architect for this project is McCarty & Associates. The project, which I'm sure you guys are all familiar, is the location. This is one of the old GDC platted neighborhoods in Unit 17. It's east of Schuman Drive, or it's east of Schuman Drive and west of Schuman Canal. Just a blown up view of the site location. Previously, the site was platted by GDC, so currently there's 70 platted single family lots on the site with no improvements. So this project received site plan approval at P&Z a few weeks ago, and tonight just want to go through, we'll talk about the site plan, but really I believe tonight's approval is for the preliminary plat.
Hang on just a second, sir. I'm thinking about something. Mrs. Stokes, should each one of these be sworn in, including staff on this?
Staff and the applicant, anyone other than an attorney is bound by
So we need
the court, but everyone else should be sworn in or sign an oath card.
Right. We're going to stop you right there, and we're going to make sure everyone that's going to testify or speak on this is sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm that the factual statements, the factual representation which you are about to give or present during the public hearing will be truthful and accurate?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Now you can continue.
Okay, sorry. I think it was probably my fault when you said witnesses. That kind of threw me off a little bit.
All right.
All right, so just jumping back into the presentation. Before I dive into the site plan, I wanted to kind of give a history on the parcel of land that our project is proposed on. Originally, the site was zoned as a single-family, low-density residential zoning classification, and in 2024, we rezoned the property to medium-density RM8 residential. So it was always kind of envisioned and rezoned for a multifamily development, and we received unanimous approvals through that rezoning process. Once we got through that process, before we started the site plan, the first thing we did was an environmental assessment, and more importantly, a tree survey to figure out what kind of trees were on the site, where were specimen and protected trees, and we really developed our site plan around the vegetation that was on site. So we met with the planning team, your planning staff. We laid out a site plan really around all the existing trees, and that was really the jumping off point on how we started down the permitting process for this project. Our initial submittal was in February of 2025. We also held a neighborhood workshop for the project, just invited anybody within, I believe it was 500 feet of the project, a radius, invited everybody to the North County Library, had site plans and landscape plans, and just talked through the project with all of the neighboring residents that showed up for the meeting. Like I mentioned before, we had a P&Z hearing in November to present the project, and that was recommended for approval. Just some site data on the project. The site is about 20 acres. We're proposing 162 townhomes. The townhome units, as far as space is concerned, they'll be approximately between 1,600 and 1,800 square feet of area. We have over 40% open space for the project. There's a lot of nice trees on site, and we really wanted to preserve that. So we have native preservation areas, a little over 25% of the site, and we incorporated that through our site, but we really tried to have larger chunks within the site to set aside for that habitat rather than breaking it up into smaller areas. We have over 300 parking spaces within the development. Many of them are parallel parking spaces within the right-of-way, so for guest parking, things like that. We have 11 parking spaces at our proposed pool amenity, and then parking within the driveways that we have for the residents. As far as amenities for this project, we have a pool and a pool cabana. We have walking paths around the wet retention ponds that we have for the site. We have about 0.8 acres that will be utilized for public space for this project, and that's a dog park as well as a walking path and some benches and things like that. We have a 25-foot natural landscape buffer. We'll need to enhance it, but we're going to leave all of the existing vegetation along the perimeters. And then we have a wet detention system for the stormwater. So our site layout, working kind of from the left side of the sheet, is we have our gated access and our main entrance. So that's our primary entrance to the residence. It will be fully gated. There's a nice median boulevard effect that we create at the entrance of the site, and we'll have a small monument sign to designate the development. And then we have our gate, which will be a controlled access for the residents. We have our conservation areas that are along the perimeter of the site, and then we also are keeping some of the vegetation or much of the vegetation in the center of the site between the townhome units and the primary kind of retention pond that we have. We have walking paths around that pond, and then you'll see the pool and pool cabana just off of the wet retention area, and we'll have our mail kiosk in that area as well. So the parking will provide for anybody visiting the pool, but also if you're picking up your mail. Along the top of your screen, that is the natural landscape buffer, and we're going to reestablish plantings in that area to enhance and screen from the existing single-family residents. And we also have a PVC opaque fence that will also provide shielding to those single-family residents. And then those existing residents also have fencing as well. Our secondary access is to the right. That will be open to the public. It will be dual access, so it will be open to the public to pull in with their vehicles. There'll be parking spaces. They can get out and use the dog park and walking trails. About half of that public park will be disturbed and developed for just putting in the retention ponds and the townhome development or the townhome building that's next to that. But everything below that will all be natural land. All the existing trees will remain, and then we're taking a walking path and kind of meandering it through that area to not impact any of those trees, and we'll have some benches and little areas to sit and things like that. Just a generalized, we don't have a builder, so the building elevations is just how we visualize the townhome product to look. Just wanted to give you a representation of that. I know that there's conditions of the permit that talks about that the buildings can't be monotonous, so there'll be different colors and they all won't look the same. With that, I'll open it up to any questions, and we can talk further about any things that you may have.
All right, thank you, sir. Are you done with your presentation for now?
I am, thank you.
All right, you can have a seat. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council members, my name is Jim Mann. I'm with the Community Development Department. So what you have here today is the requested action of the approval of a preliminary plat for the 162 townhome units across 28 buildings, including an amenity center and a public dog park located off of Schumann Drive. So what you received was kind of a twofold project, and you received the site plan documents along with the preliminary plat. With this project, we wanted to include the site plan details, kind of giving you the overall picture. But in your purview, the preliminary plat is the approval for tonight for the requested action. The site plan was approved through P&Z at the November 6th meeting. But we wanted to include those details so you had the broader picture of what was going on with this development. So kind of going back, when they submitted this project, they have to include a bunch of different documents for environmental assessments, as Mr. Mills mentioned, for a tree survey, gopher tortoises, any environmental impacts that could happen on the site. So we have those for record. They have to include a traffic impact analysis as well, and the site plan documents, and they have to meet our codes, and with that, our subdivision code and our site plan codes at the same time. So what you're seeing is getting kind of like a double review, so the project will be kind of very, very tight. It'll be a good project. On some other matters that we had addressed during the review, one of the things that we have in our comprehensive plan is that the native vegetative community needs to remain about 25% with all developments. And I believe the project has exceeded that 25%. I think they're around 26.9 for the native vegetative community. And we know how vegetated this project or this location is, and I think the applicant has done a great job in preserving those. One of the discussions that we did not have at P&Z was kind of the amenities timing. So when we come to our conditions of approval for this project, we might want to discuss maybe a condition of approval for the amenities timing for this, because we do not want to have this development and not have the amenities in place before the development is complete. And something like that, it could be something permitted no later than the fourth building certificate of occupancy and constructed no later than a year of the issuance. Something along that lines, because this project, they're going to have like one builder, it'll just be one phase, and we could have that amenities in place when the full project is completed before certificate of completion. So the recommendation tonight, staff recommends the proposed approval for the preliminary plat for Hawks Landing subdivision with the following conditions. Now, I know you saw this in the staff analysis, there were 6 conditions. 2 of those conditions, one of them were site plan related and was approved by P&Z, and the other one was actually addressed in the preliminary plat before we brought it to you in council. So the first condition will be the no conveyance of property shall occur until preliminary plat and final plat are approved. Submittal of a signed school concurrency availability determination letter, also known as a SCADL, from the school board must be submitted to staff before issuance of the first building permit. 3, the dog park to be maintained by the HOA in perpetuity. Number 4, there was a discussion at P&Z about the ownership of the canal and the maintenance of the wall that, maintains the property. We would like to have that condition as the canal system ownership and maintenance of the seawall will be represented on the final plat, and that the development will be maintaining that seawall along the canal. And furthermore, the discussion that I mentioned earlier is the amenity timing. If we wish to add that, we can add that to the resolution before signature after this approval or however this goes. And that would be the amenity timing for amenities to be permitted no later than the 4th building certificate of occupancy and constructed no later than a year from issuance or before certificate of completion of the project. And with that, I open myself up to questions if you have any.
Right. All right, thank you so much. Council, do we have any questions of staff or the applicant? Mr. Dodd.
I was thinking the monotonous color scheme may have come from the fact he used a light brown in all of his presentation material. I don't know what that came from. I don't know how that was satisfied. I watched the P&Z. I didn't hear anything said about how there was going to be some type of a color scheme or anything like that within the subdivision. So that was kind of confusing to me how you did that. My particular issue is the seawall. That whole canal system, all the way from basically 512 as it flows down through the Elkham Canal system and all the way down to Schumann, is all one single canal system. And the seawall on that canal system is a systemic issue. I mean, the seawall belongs, contrary to what we all want to believe, it belongs to the city, even though some of it, because of general properties, civil engineers were either drinking or smoking too much when they laid the plats out. It ended up on private property. I'm not sure how we can ask this particular HOA to be responsible for that seawall in that particular area. I mean, how do we get from a maintenance issue? Do they maintain their part of the seawall and nobody else maintains it? I mean, how do we deal with that? I think it can create, down the line, it can create some real issues for the city, and that may be something for discussion, because as I read item D, canal system maintenance of the seawall by the homeowner association will be represented on the final plat. My understanding is the homeowner association is going to be responsible for the streets, sidewalks, stormwater ponds, stormwater conveyance system. Part of that stormwater conveyance system will be a means by which stormwater will flow from their system into the I think that's called the Schumann Canal there, into the Schumann Canal. Are they going to be responsible for maintaining that part of the stormwater system, which I remember we had conversations with another subdivision in that area about who was going to maintain that particular function. So there is a component there that's concerning to me that we need to make sure that we take care of some way or another. I personally don't know how. I don't even know if that seawall falls within the boundaries of that piece of property or not. There's many places along that where it does not fall within the boundaries of the property. So I don't know how we can do that. And I think that in this section 3, there ought to be something said about the fact that the HOA is going to be responsible for maintaining the streets, maintaining the sidewalks, maintaining the stormwater ponds, maintaining the stormwater conveyance system, and whether they are going to be responsible for maintaining the outflow that moves potential stormwater from on their property into the Schumann Canal system. Okay, that's my comment for right now. Maybe there's something you can want to address on that. I don't know. You guys can.
I did want to just remind for the project, the Sebastian Highlands, where they came before us about the clear cutting. It's the same situation where it's been platted. But remember, they did a developer's agreement that was attached to, that you had approved. And in that developer's agreement, they had 5 or 6 lots that also abut that canal. And they were responsible for maintaining the seawall. So this is being consistent with right up the waterway, another development that's also going to, a private HOA is going to be maintaining the seawall. I think what the condition is that on the plat, the final plat, there will be some verbiage that establishes that the city owns the canal and that that's our right-of-way, but that the HOA would be responsible for any of the seawall that abuts that right-of-way for the maintenance. And I think that's what we were looking for, is verbiage on the final plat establishing that they will maintain that. Okay. Similarly to what we did in the developer's agreement for the other Sebastian Highlands subdivision. But
on the civil engineering drawings, I don't necessarily see that the seawall falls within the boundaries of the property. Does it? I mean, am I wrong in that assertion, or?
We had looked for it too on the survey. It's not pointed out very clearly, but this, after the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, the developer did reach out, and they had noted to staff that they were okay with maintaining that seawall. I don't think the survey itself did a clear depiction of the actual seawall and the concrete heading on the top. Okay. But
I want to remove myself from this particular item right now and question whether we're establishing a precedent that could come back to bite us later when we go into the Elkham Canal system. And we're saying to property owners, you have to maintain a seawall even if it's not on your property, which we are basically saying here. I'm concerned about whether we're establishing some form of a precedent when we do this. That's maybe something that you guys can discuss with the legal representative later after the meeting, because we have we have a $20 to $40 million project that's going to involve seawalls on that whole canal system. It's a systemic issue. It's not just this piece of property. And I'm concerned that by establishing something here that we might be setting up some type of precedent that could come back to haunt us later as we start to deal with that, which it's going to have to happen, and it's probably going to have to happen, I don't know, at my ripe old age of 78, I may not live to see it, but some of the people up here will live to see it when it has to happen. So that's my primary concern, is that we're stepping into a boundary that we don't necessarily need to. This is a great project. I'm very much in favor of it going in. I just wish they put some one-level units in there, because I don't want to buy a two-level unit. I don't like stairs. So that would be nice. But so that's my question.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor. Yeah. So my issue with the stormwater canal wall is, let's say they are responsible for maintaining it. Are there specific types of seawall that has to be maintained? I mean, is it what's there now has to be what's there future? Because seawalls can be done many different ways that we may not want as a city, because I don't disagree with Councilmember Dodd, it's our canal. And if they turned around and did a rock edge bank, that would still be technically a seawall. Would something like that, I mean, are there specifics of what kind of seawall it has to be in the regulations on this?
We could possibly add language that would say, in accordance with city specifications and design standards, so that if down the road the big project comes in and the city, however that's going to work for any of the property owners, private or an HOA, repair that wall, a new design, whatever that ends up being. Again, the verbiage was just to maintain it once it is installed. So the city goes through, we go through with our project with the design, but if we add that verbiage in accordance with city design standards and maintenance, they'll have to maintain it as per the city requires it to be maintained.
I mean, if we're going to have a property owner maintain it, it should be to the level that we want it to be and not what they think it should be. Nothing against anybody, but everybody has different standards of what they think is acceptable. I did have a question for the property owner. Is he here? He's not.
Is not here tonight. The current property owner, as of today,
I'll
is still
ask you
Kevin.
the question. That's okay.
Yeah.
We asked this question in the past, and I just want to see if the answer still stands. Is the intent to have affordable workforce housing in this property? That was what he said standing before us. Is that still the goal here?
So that is still the goal. However, I do want to just give you some more information, more details. I'm always going to be transparent. Is Kevin has sold the property to Florida Site LLC, who is the developer, and they will sell to a home builder. There isn't a home builder selected yet. I do have a representative for the development team that's here, if you'd like to talk to him.
I would love to.
But I think just by nature of the product type, it will be affordable workforce housing, but I'll let,
Sure, I would love to.
Good evening. My name is Dante Frigari. I'm with the Terrasolo Group representing the actual contract holder of the property, which is FL Site 815 Estancia Way, Boynton Beach.
Okay.
So as far as to answer your question.
Mr. Dante, I believe you have to be sworn in.
Oh, I was. Okay. Yeah, I was. So in answer to your question there, I want to clarify, and I don't want to kind of get technical with the terms here, but like when you say workforce housing, to me, that's an ordinance that's in Palm Beach County, which is, there's specific criteria for that. What I would say is essential housing, which is targeting that, or that class of affordability. Right? And yes, that is still the case.
Okay. I mean, I'm not asking for low-income housing.
Yeah, no.
We have low-income housing in the area.
Exactly. And that's why I just thought that I would go ahead and just clarify that, because when the term workforce housing, I do, some development deals in Palm Beach County, and there's a specific ordinance, and then there's some, I don't want to misrepresent, and as, our, civil engineer just stated, I want to be 1,000% transparent with what the expectations are, but obviously the exhibit that we're showing in the presentation is essentially what we're going to do. Again, working with the staff on the the type of unit, the architectural elements and features of the units and things like that, all of that was taken into account, but that has always been the representation.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You know, one of the exciting, you can thank, I'm good. One of the exciting things about this project when it first came before us was that the owner was a local owner. He was somebody who had owned houses throughout Sebastian and Vero, and that he wasn't looking to make a fortune off this property. He was looking to provide something for our community, to do something to help, you know, the policemen, the teachers, and other people in our community. And, you know, one of the challenges of this job up here is when we approve something for something, whether we approve a new zoning or something on a piece of property, it stays with that piece of property, even if that owner sells it to somebody else who doesn't have the same vision as the original guy that stood before us. And I just hope that's still, you know, the goal. It was what excited me about this project. So I'm not saying you took the wind out of my sails on this one, but I just hope it still does. And I thank you for trying. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Matthews?
I just had one question. I wanted to clarify that and it was something that you said that kind of confused me maybe, but I just want to make sure on that secondary exit, the gates for the actual community are lower than the entry for the dog park, correct?
Correct,
So
yes.
the public will not be breaching security of a gated community?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And there were two regular, and one handicap parking space for
There's
that?
3 parking spaces,
Okay.
yes.
And the other thing that is, I know that we had discussed this, and that's what I have for you. Then, that we had discussed about before on the some verbiage on the HOAs and the responsibilities and how they would fall in comparison, and maybe some things that were the same as some other subdivisions that we have coming in that. You know, with everything that they're responsible for, the roads, the sidewalks, the landscaping, the public general use areas, and now we're throwing sidewalk or seawalls and stuff in there too, that, you know, what happens if they can't? And I know we were going to expand on that verbiage. I'd like to see that as well. And
Yes, we can take a look at that as well, and maybe not kind of overload a little bit on the maintenance portion, but we'd like to be able to be consistent with other subdivisions in their HOA documents on, you know, the maintenance of the roads and infrastructure of the subdivisions as well. Just accounting for the seawall itself, since the property is directly contiguous to the canal. The seawall maintenance, I mean, it's something that, because of the development of the property, that it was kind of implied that the developer or the HOA should be maintaining the seawall along the canal system, to be consistent with other subdivisions along that canal system.
I think also to add to Jim, if we're being consistent also with Sebastian Highland 17, their developers agreement, that there were some verbiage in there that if they, because we're taking over the roads or keeping the roads, there's going to be public roads, but they have the sidewalks and stormwater, and we had added something in there that stated if the HOA fell apart or they didn't keep up with their responsibilities, that each one of those individual lots could be assessed a fee for the maintenance of that. So we can be consistent with that type of verbiage and add that, if you make that a condition of approval, that we can require that verbiage in their HOA docs, that we can assess each individual townhome or property owner if something isn't maintained, if that's the consistency you were speaking of?
yes, and my concern is blight. I mean, we have 162 homes here that there's a lot for them to maintain. So I just want to make sure that happens, and it doesn't, especially on the general use areas, the public areas, that we don't end up in a situation where it's not being taken care of.
And I have to agree, that's a question I've been asked before, is what happens when an HOA goes belly up, and, you know, does the city just take it over? So having those kind of things in there as a backup for that situation, I think is totally important.
Well, there's a gigantic amount of state legislation on HOAs and what happens when they go bankrupt, and we saw some of that in 2008 here in town, not Sebastian, but in the county where HOAs went bankrupt, and the homeowners, much to their chagrin, had to come up with a lot of money to make them straight. But I think I would like to see us add, or maybe even change the language of D to require that the HOA articles or declaration be filed with the city prior to the completion of the model homes. And that in that declaration, that's where you would stipulate what the maintenance responsibility HOA is within their docs. And so I think it would be appropriate for us to ask for that to be filed so that we can verify that they are accepting the responsibility of doing the things they have to do.
So usually we get the final draft, or not the final draft, but the final version of the HOA. It's recorded with the final plat. The final plat has to be recorded before they convey any of these units and or get a CO on their model homes. Okay. So they would definitely need to have that before they could even open a model home.
Right. Because what we're saying in D is that the canal system maintenance of the seawall, so we're talking about one part of the responsibility of the HOA. In reality, what we're asking for is all that to be defined during that final plat. So maybe change the language of D to say that HOA responsibilities through their, something, however the language may fit, should be filed prior to the approval of the final plat. I still question whether the seawall, I think that's something that needs to be talked about, and maybe there needs to be some conversations at the legal level about what the impact of all this stuff is, because we have this major issue in this city with this seawall. On the Elkham Canal system, on part of the Collier Canal system, and on the Shuman Canal system, we've got all that seawall. We have reports from all the way back to 2015 that talks about how bad those walls are and how much they're deteriorating and what we're going to have to do to fix them. And we've been in one big constant battle as a council, not necessarily this group, because this goes back to 2015 when that battle started. Yep. One constant battle about how that's going to be financed and who's going to be responsible for it and what happens because general properties surveyors got crazy when they laid out lines, and some of the seawalls on private property and some of the seawalls on city property, and how do we deal with that? North of the canal, the decision was made the city would do it all. And I'm not so sure that we shouldn't think about that south of the canal, and this has to bleed right into that. And that's not one of the reserve requirements in the state HOA requirements. State HOA doesn't require you to put a reserve together for a seawall that might cost you a ton of money to repair. So, all right.
You good?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, anything else, Councilman, for right now?
Thank you.
All right, we're going to open up the floor for anyone in favor of this request. All right, seeing none, how about, is there anyone opposed this request? Please come forward. Come forward.
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
Can I recommend that everyone that's planning to speak get sworn in now? Because I know that the individuals
They don't have the cards filled out?
I don't think so.
No, all right. There's one, he has a card.
Looks like he's got a card.
Okay.
Come on up, sir.
Just recommend everybody has a card.
Yeah, if you don't have a card, please and you want to speak, make sure you fill out an oath card.
Just lay it right here.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Wooldridge. I live at 153 Day Drive. I've lived there for 22 years. I've attended most of the meetings on planning and zoning hearings pertaining to this parcel of land. I've kept an open mind on both sides of the issue. The original parcel was zoned for single-family homes, 70-something, they said. The first planning and zoning hearing to change the density to R8, the reason for the change was for affordable housing in Sebastian. It was highlighted at every hearing that the change needs to satisfy requirements for this comp plan. I was not informed of the meeting at the library on the site plan at Hawks Landing. I was given a plan by a neighbor that showed me the layout, but not the structures. Until I attended the last planning and zoning meeting, I did not realize that they were building two-story townhouses. The rezone of parcel to R8 was for affordable housing. I was emphasized over and over. Hawks K Landing is not affordable housing. The HOA fees and the cost of the units are not what this process was intended to accomplish. I urge you to vote no on Resolution R2541.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
I have a hand raised on Zoom. Are they allowed to speak on this?
Yes, bring them in. No, that's right. Sorry, we can't do it on Zoom. I'm sorry, that's correct. Not on a quasi judicial hearing anymore. Come forward, sir.
Thank you.
You have an oath card?
I didn't see it in the back.
Well, you didn't. All right. Well, we need to swear you in.
Do you swear or affirm that the factual statements and factual representation which you are about to give or present during the public hearing will be truthful and accurate?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sir.
Damian Gilliams, City of Sebastian, 1623 US 1, President of the Sebastian Homeowners Association. This is not compatible with the community. It's just as clear as day. I looked at the plans that are in the back. You're talking about putting 10 pounds of sand in a 5-pound bag. That's what you're doing here. And you're not going to get affordable housing unless you get a development agreement in writing reflecting income, et cetera. It's just not going to happen. This is, and I didn't see the traffic study impact plan. I don't know, maybe when I'm finished speaking, the staff can address the traffic study impact plan, because I didn't see that. Maybe I missed it. But you're talking about RS10. This is a single-family community. And on all three sides, it's single-family. You got some commercial limited on the other side. But this is not working out for the community. And I don't know the developer, and my job is to look out for the residents of this community to make sure that you are not impacting the roads, the stormwater, the retention ponds, et cetera. And this is doing that. And you would be irresponsible tonight. I think you should do a continuance. We need to see the traffic impact coming in and out of that area, so it's reflected, and what this community is going to feel in reference to the value of their homes. Their homes will depreciate, and I can speak as a real estate broker. When you put something like this in the middle of residential, the homes around it are going to go down in value. That's just my legal, honest opinion. And as a broker, this does not make any sense. I don't know how it ever got this far. You need to do a continuance. This needs to be studied over and over again before you consider it. And, you know, the seawall is a major problem. You know, we did that one seawall on the other side of the Highlands for $5 million, and I'm sure values have gone up tremendously. As far as, I looked at the ownership. It was kind of confusing on the drawings, and then I see that they're passing it from one developer to another. Causes me to really, let's have the attorney take a real close look at that as well, because, I mean, I'm not against anybody making a profit, but in the right place at the right time. This is not going to work for the homeowners that invested in those homes in that area, because they saw 70 lots and I see 162 townhomes. That's a big change, and it's not right. So maybe the staff can answer to the traffic impact study. I didn't see that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else? I'm not going to say anything. Is there anyone else want to speak? Is there, sir, you're done? We will get to that. Anyone else wish to speak? All right. All right, now we need the applicant to provide an opportunity to speak on some of the concerns you've heard.
Sure. So as far as some of the concerns I heard as it relates to stormwater, so when we develop the site, it will have significantly less runoff than its current condition. We have our St. John's permit. Your engineering staff has reviewed our plans and calculations, so there will not be an impact as it relates to stormwater. As it relates to traffic, we are adding units to a vacant site, so there will be more traffic. We provided a traffic impact analysis that not only meets the city's requirements, but also meets Indian River County's requirements. It was reviewed by your staff and as well as Indian River County's traffic department, and it's in compliance with all of those requirements. They look at the level of service of the existing roads, intersections, all those things, and both departments found that, and our consultant that we hired to do the traffic analysis, all parties are in agreement that the development doesn't trigger any needs for any improvements other than those are what we show on the plan. As far as the affordability concerns, these townhomes will be platted fee simple, so they will have ownership just like a single family product will have. And just by nature, a townhome is your entry level. Either if you're a new home buyer, it's an entry level into having fee simple ownership in a home. As far as the older generation that may want to downsize, I mean, townhomes are meet those needs as well. These units will be less than what you could build a single family house for. If we built a single family house on this site, you would be looking at a house that's probably high 400s to not $500,000 to purchase. So those were the concerns that I heard. If there's anything that I missed, I'm happy to circle back around to that.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Staff, you want to go ahead and summarize? Or any other concern, perhaps traffic study, what you see on those types of things?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So yes, we did receive the traffic study provided by the applicant, and the conclusion of the traffic study was that no improvements shall be required for the impact of this development. It didn't break any thresholds of level of service. Also, as the applicant stated, these homes will be, kind of like a single-family unit. That's why they're doing the conveyance of property and will be sold fee simple. But as per the recommendation from staff, I mean, staff does recommend approval of the preliminary plat for Hawks Landing subdivision. I'll try and get these conditions of approval, clarified from discussions we've had. So number one, no conveyance of property shall occur until preliminary plat and final plat are approved. Number two, the submittal of a signed school concurrency availability determination letter, also known as a SCADL, from the school board must be submitted to staff before issuance of the first building permit. Number three, the public dog park to be maintained by the HOA in perpetuity. Number four, the canal system ownership and maintenance of the seawall will be represented on the final plat, and we will kind of work on some verbiage for the language of the maintenance to be consistent with the city standards if it ever is to be reconstructed or constructed. And then seven, the amenity center timing would be that it would be the amenities to be permitted no later than the fourth building of certificate and constructed no later than a year of issuance or our certificate of completion. And number eight, we would include some language that would be similar with other subdivisions in regards to maintenance of infrastructure. We can add those to the final plat per the dedications.
All right, thank you so much for that. All right, council, it's our turn now. Deliberations, questions, or any?
I got another comment to make. So I'm going to go back to my earlier discussion when we originally discussed this with the original owner, and I believe it was Mr. Mills back then as well, Sandridge Estates. So this area is not new to multifamily units because Sandridge Estates is right across the street. But Sandridge Estates has a classy, fit into the neighborhood scheme. I'm not sure two-story townhomes fit into the neighborhood scheme of what's going on in that neighborhood. I'm really disappointed. I'll be honest. I'm really disappointed that that's where we are, and it's not where we started out, but I'm used to it. It's not something that's new. Property owners get the best they can get off a piece of property, and then they sell it to somebody else to build it. It's not the first time it's happened. It happens all the time. I think that's all I have. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dodd?
Well, Dora, you may correct what's east of this piece of property has already been approved to be a combination of single-family housing and some multifamily duplexes, correct?
I think to the east is your Day Drive, that is single family, but on the other side is Schuman Drive, and to the north of that is a lot of RM8 zoning district with duplexes, and then there's the Sandridge townhouses. So and then commercial limited. So there definitely is, when we reviewed the request to change the land use and the zoning, that was all taken into consideration, that this wasn't just spot zoning in the middle of single family to drop some multifamily zoning. It definitely is contiguous to other multifamily zoning.
Okay, now, Day Drive is actually a little bit southeast, I guess, on the other side of the canal.
Yes.
I'm talking about on the same side of the canal, but further east from that, with an entrance that comes off of, basically off of Day Drive into there. We approved some stuff back in there, did we not?
Yeah.
Sebastian Highlands is single family.
I thought there was a combination. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Those were single family.
It's not inconsistent with the way you develop a community to have two-story townhouse complexes adjacent to single-family residential. And in fact, that's a good bleeding thing. You go from commercial townhouses, single-family, you step down and up. So I don't personally have that much of an issue with the townhouses being in there. They're going to be pretty well buffered with the buffering they're talking about doing between the single-family on Schuman Drive and what they're talking about doing down there. They're going to be pretty well buffered back in there. Given that we don't have a developer's agreement on this, my preference would be that someplace in there, when you laid out your things, actually, if we're going to go along with a resolution, it has to be A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so E would be your amenities piece. And then F would be, I think, something along the lines of that the HOA declaration or articles that specifically define HOA maintenance responsibilities will be filed with the final plat. And that way, all of the HOA responsibilities, we're asking for them then at final plat time to give us a breakdown of all the HOA responsibilities. That's in the document. It's in the document that the HOA members 5 years from now are going to have to follow. Not something that is said today that is inconsistent with what the HOA people have to follow 5 years from now. There's a big issue with that all over the state of Florida with the way that works. So I'd like to see that as your F on this, as opposed to the language you were putting on that.
Mr. Dodd, too, we'll add some, we'll get some language from the attorney, but I have found that HOA documents can be changed without coming back to the city, unless you add, as we did in the developer's agreement, some language that states that this section cannot be revised without approval by City of Sebastian. So some of those we could possibly add in.
You'd have to work with legal on how to do that, but I know the HOA itself can modify their declaration, but it requires a thing. We can probably make it contingent. We can probably tie that down some way legally, but I think it's important that we get that tied down. And that really, and to me, is this. I don't know why we're segregating the seawall. We're saying all this stuff is going to be the HOA's responsibility. Now, let's see your document showing that the HOA is going to be responsible for that, because it's not inconsistent for a landowner to sell his land to somebody who sells it to a developer, who sells it to somebody's going to build houses. These people are all gone 10 years from now, 5 years from now, when that seawall has to be repaired. These people are all gone. What's there is the declaration document that governs the HOA that's in between the HOA and the state of Florida's statutes. That's what stays consistent in the process with the HOAs, is that their bylaws and their declaration. They can change the bylaws. They have a very difficult time changing the declaration, but they can change the bylaws. So you can work on some language on that. And this is our first reading on this, right? Or do we get this back?
No, this is a resolution, so tonight
Okay.
is your final approval, or your option would be, if you would rather us bring this back to see the revised language of the resolution, you could table it and we can bring it back on the 17th. Might be to the chagrin of the developer, but that's an option if you'd like to see all this language laid out in the resolution.
Can I just jump in here, please?
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor. So Councilmember Dodd, I think to your point, what we should do instead of adding item F, we should on item D, which is referring to the seawalls, we can add the language in there that includes the infrastructure, which is roads, sidewalks, stormwater, and seawalls. All four of those items with all that infrastructure goes into item D, and it needs to be represented on the final plat. That way, HOA documents can change, but we can represent that on the final plat if that gives you more comfort there, because then the final plat is the final plat. HOA documents can change.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
So we'll do that with item D. We'll put all infrastructure, which is roads, sidewalks, the public park, stormwater, and seawalls. All of that will go into item D, and it'll be represented on the final plat.
And I think it's important to look at who's going to be responsible for maintaining the outfall between their stormwater system and the Schumann Canal. Because that's another issue. Okay, who's going to be responsible for maintaining that?
So that falls in place with the St. John's water drainage permit that they'll be getting. So yes, the outfall may be into that canal, but St. John's has their standards of how treated, and that water will have to be filtered and treated before it could outfall into the canal.
Who's going to be responsible for implementing that stuff and maintaining it? That's the key. Go ahead. Is the mic on?
I don't know.
Go ahead. It
They
might
got
be.
it. They got it.
Our drainage outfall actually discharges into the dry swale that is, I guess, north of our site. So we don't have a direct connection into the Schumann Canal. It goes into the dry swale, and then the dry swale connects into Schumann Canal.
Okay. But there is a connection between the dry swale and the Schumann Canal. There will be a drainage pipe, some form of a structure, overflow structure, and a pipe that comes out of that goes into the Schumann Canal.
Yes.
And it's that piece right there
that would be all our responsibility under our permit with St. John's.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
All right.
All right, thank you. Staff, you have anything else?
Not at this time, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you so much. All right, council, we can talk more about it, or we can have a motion either way, so.
Mr. Mayor, I just don't want to forget the vice mayor.
Oh, yeah.
If he has anything to add.
Yeah. Bob, do you have anything?
No, sir. I move approval of resolution number R-25-41 with the dimension items.
Right, okay. There's a motion by Vice Mayor McPartland. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Do we have a second? All right. Do we have, all right. Madam Clerk?
Mayor Jones,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McPartland,
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn,
No.
Councilmember Matthews,
Yes.
and Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you so much. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to item number 10C, legislative public hearing. Mr. Stokes.
Yes.
Hang on just a second. We'll wait till these folks get. Can y'all exit quietly, please? Let's do it.
No. Yep.
All right, Mr. Stokes, you can proceed.
As ordinance number O-25-04, an ordinance of the City of Sebastian, Florida, approving an amendment to the comprehensive plan future land use map to designate a land use classification of LDR, low density residential, 5 units per acre, to property containing 1 148.5 acres, more or less, formerly known as Vickers Sand Mine, located east of Lance Street, west of the FEC Railroad, south of Gilson and Concord Avenues, and north of Beach Cove Mobile Home Park, with current land use designations of MU, mixed use, 10 units per acre, in IN, industrial, and CI, Indian River County, commercial/industrial, authorizing findings and administrative actions, providing for conflicts, severability, and Scrivener's errors, providing an effective date, and providing an adoption schedule.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Staff, go ahead and make your presentation.
This is a quasi-legislative. I'm not sure if we all need to be sworn in again.
Do we?
For this application?
Legislative.
Okay. Staff is going to give the presentation. If you have any questions, the applicant is here. This is one application for this project of changing the future land use map in our comprehensive plan. It is for a 148-acre site. It is currently, it has a current land use of mixed use, which was acquired when we did our comprehensive plan back in 2022. And it was given the mixed use. The developer, though, that is wishing to purchase this started off with some mixed use ideas, but in turn would like to do a single family mixed villa type of development, and it did not meet our intentions and the comprehensive plan requirements for mixed use, and they came in with an application to change the 148 acres. It also, I've got a presentation here that will just bring up a map here. This all includes the request for the land use. So here's the project location. It does include the area around the lake, the former Vickers Sand Mine. There is a 1.47 acre in that southeast corner that's currently zoned industrial, and it includes the Industrial Park Boulevard, which is currently a private drive and will remain a private drive. It is currently zoned mixed use for the area around the lake, and the industrial parcel still has the industrial zone land use, and the road itself, Industrial Park Boulevard, has been annexed in, but that still currently has a county land use of commercial industrial. So the request in the application before you tonight is to give it a new land use, which would be low density residential, allowing 5 units per acre. And that will also include the industrial parcel would also be a new land use of low density residential, and for consistency's sake, the private road itself will also be low density, but it's a private roadway. With regards to the existing future land use map, the pink is the current mixed use. That bright yellow surrounding it, the Sebastian Highlands, that will also be the new color that will all be a low density residential. So it is very consistent with the surrounding properties. This is a large scale land use. So that is, it required submittal up to the state transmittal, and which we did. And on pages 167, there is the letter from the Department of Florida Commerce that they had no comment on the proposed amendment. It was also sent out to some other jurisdictional agencies. Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council had no comments on the requested change. Department of State, and we also had no comments back from St. John's Water Management District. If this is approved tonight, this is second reading, we're required to send the full packet up to the state, and once they let us know that this is considered a complete packet, if there are no appeals to the request, the ordinance would become effective 31 days from that date. Staff recommends approval of the request to change the future land use map of the proposed properties.
All right, thank you so much. Is there anybody from the public? Doc?
Horton appears not to be here tonight. You are with D.R. Horton? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public would like to comment on this item? All right, seeing none. There you go.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor McPartlin.
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn.
Yes.
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd. And Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you so much. Our next item is item 10D. We're going to go ahead and open this hearing. Mr. Stokes.
Yes, ordinance O-25-05, an ordinance of the City of Sebastian, Florida, providing a zoning designation for lands with prior city zoning designations of RS10, Single Family Residential District, and IN, Industrial District, and annexed land with a prior county zoning designation of IL, Light Industrial District, to PUD-R, Planned Unit Development Residential, in accordance with the conceptual development plan for land consisting of 148.5 acres, more or less, formerly known as the Vickers Sand Mine, located east of Land Street, west of the FCC Railroad, south of Gilson and Concord Avenues, and north of Beach Cove Mobile Home Park, providing for conflicts, Scrivener's errors, and severability, and providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you so much for that, sir. Council, anybody have any ex parte communications to disclose?
No.
Hearing none?
No, sir.
All right. Is there anyone that's going to testify in this or speak on this? Please rise and be sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm that the factual statements and factual representation which you're about to give or present during this public hearing will be truthful and accurate?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, applicant, are you ready to make a presentation?
Good evening. My name is Elise Shaughnessy. I'm with BGE, the engineer for this project. We also have the owner and the developer here as well. So this is the second reading, and so you've already seen this presentation 3 weeks ago. So I'm just here to kind of reiterate what we're going over. So the project is Treasure Bay, formerly known as Vickers Sand Mine. This is located on Industrial Park Boulevard. The developer is D.R. Horton. I am the engineer, BGE. We had their surveyor, Mesteller, Moeller, and Taylor, and then our environmental was Atlantic Environmental. This is just an overview, vicinity map. We're located near Essex Lane, north of 99th, connected by Industrial Boulevard, east of Lance, and south of Schumann. Our acreage is just under 150 acres, and we're proposing 180 residential units, 110 single-family detached, and 70 paired villas, which are similar to duplexes. This is the current zoning. Right now, there are 3 different zonings. One is about. So right now, the existing use is a vacant sand mine. As you can see, a majority of it is the wet detention ponds where they dug out all of the sand. There aren't any existing environmentally fragile lands, conservation lands, or wetlands on the site. The existing lake will serve as the stormwater for the site. It's not going to change, and because it's so large, we don't have any actual discharge off of our site. There aren't a lot of existing trees on the site currently, so we won't be removing any, or there would be minimal. And then the water and sewer is provided by the county. The lake is about 85 acres. The density comes out to be 1.21 dwelling units per acre, which is less than our proposed allowed. The goal is to provide quality housing, and so we think it supports the city's goal to emphasize the infill development per the comprehensive plan. This is an overview of the site plan, and just not to be confused, we're not here for the site plan, but just to get an idea of what the plan will look like. There is one main road that is on the outside of the property, and then a single row of development surrounding the pond. We're providing a lot of recreation and amenities in this. The required recreation for this is 1.8 acres, but we're providing 2.94. We have private recreation of 0.97 acres with a kayak launch, with storage and gazebos, pickleball courts and a playground, and a dog park. And then for the public recreation, we have an 8-foot bike lane that goes north-south along the eastern boundary. And then we also, in the south area, have a public rest area with a pavilion, seating, water fountain, garden, and exercise bicycle equipment. Again, our biggest public benefit here is the 8-foot bike path, and this will be heavily landscaped, enhanced landscaping, and it is being dedicated to the city, but the HOA is maintaining. We also have an increased 30-foot wide buffer along the bike path. The 8-foot bike path along Industrial extends the connectivity from 99th Street for public use. The rest area on the south end of our property, but the north end of Industrial, has the exercise equipment. And this allows for pedestrian access and connectivity from Lance and Schumann. And then lastly, the county was asking us to increase the size of the force main from 4 to 8. And as a benefit, the developer is going to be paying for all of it. They're not going to be doing a developer's agreement with the city to do a cost share. The average size of the lots are 7,500 and 5,750 for the single-family lots. So the average size comes out to be 6,625. We're asking for not waivers, but just with the amenities, the added amenities, we are asking for smaller lot sizes, 50-foot lot size. We're also asking for a smaller yard setback of 5 feet. RS10 has 10, but RM8 has 5, so we're asking for 5. And then we are asking to include the water detention pond as 50% of our open space requirement, and per city code, only 30% is allowed. And then we're also asking to increase the building coverage from 30 to 56. And then I'm here as well, again, as the client and the owner, if there are any questions.
All right, thank you so much. Staff, you can have a seat, ma'am.
Yes, as noted in our staff analysis, this is a request. This is the companion to the land use application, requesting a zoning designation of PUDR, Planned Unit Development. Our code requires that when you request that zoning designation, zoning district designation, that approval of a conceptual plan is also required. And so I do want to note that I know that Elise had noted that the site plan is not before you, that sheet C002. In effect, that is the conceptual plan, and yes, that is what you will be approving in that ordinance. It also mentions that if you approve the rezoning to PUD, you are also, we're approving that conceptual plan. So I wanted to clarify that. This is quasi-judicial. We'd like to, I know we had gone over our staff analysis in more detail. First reading, we'd like to enter all of that evidence and our staff report into the second reading here, into this public hearing. So I'm not going to necessarily go over all the details. Just a few things. And also clarification from what the presentation was is, and we have that in one of our noted conditions of, recommended conditions of approval, is the bike path will not necessarily be dedicated to the city, but dedicated for public use, so that the public can use that. They will be, the HOA will be maintaining the sidewalk and the landscaping. I think instead of dedicated to the city, the intent was it's dedicated for public use. So we do have on page 193 of your packet, that was the conceptual plan. With the PUD designation, our code allows you to kind of negotiate they're not waivers, as Elise said, it's dimensional consideration. So in lieu of or in consideration of allowing those smaller, wider lots, the setback change from what we would normally do in our single-family developments. In exchange, they have offered some additional, besides the minimum recreational requirement, they are offering additional amenities in the project. So they do have quite a few, even private amenities for those. And then they have, it's almost an acre, more acre than they have offered, they are proposing than what's required for their minimum recreation amount. They also are, the county was very happy to note that they were increasing that sewer size pipe that's going to be in Schuman Drive to their site at their own cost, not in a cost share with the county, but at their own cost. So that could be looked at as an additional benefit that they are asking for in lieu of some of the dimensional consideration. This is the conceptual plan. The preliminary plat will also be back before you. This is, again, just so that you can see the dimensional consideration that they're asking for, the layout, the gist of this subdivision, but the preliminary plat will be back before you with more of the details. And at that point, we'll get an actual design of the connection to Schuman Drive on Essex, the road design for Industrial Park Boulevard. We'll get more of those details for the subdivision at that. So this will be back before you. But this is the conceptual plan, and the code does state if they were to make amends or revise this conceptual plan to a fairly decent degree, it would have to come back before you. The conceptual plan would also come back before you, but we're not expecting that. I believe they're close to bringing in the preliminary plat. Staff feels that this is with regards to the rezoning from the RS10. A lot of this is already zoned RS10 industrial. That the request to rezone to PUDR is in compliance with our comp plan and our land development code. We do have, as you can see on page 214, we have 8 recommended conditions of approval. They do go into the public amenities. I did want to point out, I noticed that one of them did also have the verbiage that Ms. Matthews was talking about. We have added, and this will be in the ordinance, so this is a little bit stronger, and will be also implemented on the final plats. We've got 2 documents that will kind of enforce these conditions. But in number 2, it says if the public amenities are not maintained properly and become blighted or unkept, the PUD may be found in violation of its approval. So there's a little bit of enforcement with that if this being a condition in that ordinance. But we have the 8 recommended conditions, and staff recommends approval.
All right, thank you so much for that. You know, I love the project. I love some of the amenities and other things that are added in there. There's one thing that I can't get over, and that is the 5-foot side setbacks. You know, when I think about that, I think about reaching outside your window and touching your neighbor's house, and I'm just wondering how that will look like, what that will look like in the future for our city if we can go down this road. And generally, it's what, 7.5 or something? So
some of the kind of the histories is, with our PUDs is one of the first PUDs that came in was Sebastian River Landings, Phase 1, the part that you see right behind the Publix on Sebastian Boulevard. And that is, they were approved with 5-foot side setbacks. Once those started building, I believe the councils at that time were like, those houses are kind of close. And so when Phase 2 came in, it was 7.5 feet is what the Phase 2, and a lot of our other, I believe Spirit of Sebastian, the other one over there, I'm sorry, across the street, but most of our other PUDs are 7.5 feet. Until Sandcrest came in, which is on Powerline Road, and the developer came before you saying, hey, these are going to be smaller lots, 4,500, 5,500. We want to market them to people that don't want a lot of lawn to mow. And so those on Powerline Road are 5-foot setbacks. That's probably the only other PUD that has those. But consideration, and River Oaks that came before you for their conceptual plan is 7.5. So there's not a lot that do have the 5-foot setbacks. That's under your consideration. I think, though, if the concern is open space and having it look like it's close together, that may be a concern if the subdivision is more back-to-back streets and more of a grid and you have more of the houses. With this subdivision as such a large lake and only one ring of homes around the lake, that may be consideration if you still feel 5 feet is okay with regards to preserving this open space look. Another consideration can be, though, that as they are proposing, they do have in your packet as a sample of the models that they're going to propose, and there is a two-story single-family home. If you wanted to consider that the 2 stories would have maybe an increased setback, that's something we can, you could discuss also.
Yeah, on the 2-story, 7.5-foot side setbacks. Yeah, that's what I would like to see on the 2-story. The single, that's just my concern. I'm just spreading on that. Anyone else from the council want to speak on this? So, you have any questions of staff or the applicant?
No, I'm glad that I had that's been heartburn from day one on this. Just the 5 foot, I see this, again, possibly being an issue, and later on down the road, and I know that there's several communities that do have this, that they do have a lot of issues with the water, especially on those 2-story buildings, that it's pouring rain and the water is falling off one and hitting the wall of the other. And I don't want to get into starting that. If, I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about, there's several things, and I did see the verbiage in this one that I'm looking for the other one as well. And thank you for bringing that up.
Mr. Dodd?
Yeah, I know I would, me and probably a whole lot of people in Sebastian would love it if we could only have half-acre lots and fewer houses, but that's just not the practicality of the way it is. If we're going to, when I talk about workforce housing, I know there was a conversation in one of our prior discussions tonight about what that all means, but to me, workforce housing is where we should be trying to get to. And one of the consistent threads that comes through all the discussions I've seen with the Florida League of Cities and the National League of Cities about how to get to, they call it affordable housing, but that scares people because they think you're talking about subsidized. Okay. When it gets down to workforce housing, the consistent theme that comes about is the only way you're going to accomplish that in the American business model is through high-rise development or through smaller footprints on smaller lot sizes, which means you have to give consideration to things like setbacks and so forth in order to get smaller lot sizes so you get more units on the same piece of overall property. I looking at their layouts on their houses and the duplexes that they've laid out, I can't get a real good feel for what the price point is on this stuff, but it's probably going to be in the mid-3s and up. And the mid-3s and up is right on the borderline of being workforce housing.
And it's lakefront property.
And it's lakefront property, which is going to be a big different issue on that. So, but, and I share your concerns about the 5-foot setback, especially on the 2-story buildings, but I do know that if we want to get to where we're not building $700,000 houses in Sebastian, we're going to have to give on something, and that something is going to be lot size and footprint. We're going to have to give on those things to get the cost of housing down a little bit. So, I would certainly be willing to go along with saying a 7.5-foot setback on a 2-story lot would be appropriate. I wouldn't have an issue with that personally, but I do know that the big thing is we're just going to have to get used to this. Where the other places, what they're doing is they're building tall buildings with apartments in them and still renting them for $2,500 a month. So that's what I have to say.
Right.
So I guess the question is 5-foot setbacks on the single-story homes and a 7.5-foot setback on the 2-story homes an acceptable idea? And is that something the owners are?
We'll have them address that.
We'll have them address
come
that?
Back, yeah.
We'll
I'll have them
come back?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I guess that would be my only question and kind of fall in there. Yes, but what Mr. Dodd said was completely right. And so if we don't adjust, then workforce housing isn't possible, but we still want some standards.
Yes.
Good.
Of course. Vice Mayor?
No, I'm in agreement with that, with the 5-foot and 7.5-foot for a 2-story.
All right. Very good. All right. Is there anything else from me? Now I'm going to go ahead and open the floor up to anyone in favor of this request. Seeing none, open the floor to anyone opposing this request. All right, applicant, you may step forward now, and you've heard some things. Now it's your time to let us know what you think.
Yes, sir. Thank you. My name is Mike Dula, representing D.R. Horton, and I do appreciate all of staff's coordination on this. The major items I know you touched on are the side setbacks, the 5-foot side setbacks, or the 7.5-foot side setbacks. I will say we've developed many communities that do have 5-foot side setbacks, and that's 5 foot from either building, so you do have a 10-foot separation between these products here. Our engineers are very used to designing these subdivisions to make sure that drainage is adequate, and normally I would agree with you if we were talking about back-to-back lots and an extremely dense subdivision, but in this case we're talking about single-loaded products on one side of a lake. Again, as you know, the density for this site is already low compared to the previous zoning. And I will say any additional side setbacks do significantly cut into the amount of buildable area we can use for this development, mainly because of the large lake offering in the middle. I do believe the site, regardless of site setbacks, offers a significant amount of usable open space. The lake itself will have a kayak access and a dock. There won't be any buffers between the lake itself and the home, so every one of these homes will have lakefront access. And again, our D.R. Horton's focus is, again, I'll stay away from the word affordable, but economical housing. We strive to have lower price points that everyone can get into, and the smaller setbacks play a big role in that, allowing us to provide a few more houses here and there. Really allows us to cut down the offering prices of these homes. I would urge that we're able to stay at those setbacks. We can potentially revisit the two-story question, but I think definitely for at least the single-story products, we need to stay at those smaller setbacks to make it feasible from a development perspective.
Yeah, I think our sentiment, though, is not about the single-story. It's the two-story on the 7.5-foot setback. So.
Okay, understood. No, that's something we can definitely consider. Again, I couldn't say at this point without going back and revisiting whether or not that makes it feasible. I know because the density is so low on this site, we're close and we're trying to keep the cost of these offerings as low as possible. But that's what I have to say on the setbacks. And again, I think this is a great infill project. I believe we're providing significant public benefit for the size of the development. And we appreciate all of your coordination on this. That's what I have to say.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Was there anything else raised that you may need to address before you sit back?
I don't believe there are any other concerns I saw brought up, but I'm happy to answer any other questions that any of the board members have.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Staff?
So in consideration of using the 7.5, I don't think that it will affect their density. What it may end up being is that they will not offer the two-story house model if they want to not adhere to the 7.5 setback. So if we do apply that, what you may be doing is eliminating a housing choice for that subdivision, because I don't think they're going to change the number of lots, but it may eliminate that two-story offering to that subdivision if they don't want to adhere to the 7.5. So that would be kind of the offset of, yes, if you're still going to do this, I think you could still possibly require that 7.5 for the two-story, but ultimately I think the end will be that they probably will eliminate that model process. Because I don't think on your conceptual plan, those lots do not designate, here is this particular model for that lot. It just, these were sample type of models that they would offer for that community.
Right. You've had that conversation with them before?
Not necessarily. I'm thinking if you still require that 7.5, I would foresee them possibly not providing that. So you would be eliminating a housing choice, and they can verify that. But it's not necessarily going to affect their density. The setbacks shouldn't say, hey, because we're allowing this setback, now you can only get 10 less lots in there. It's just the setback for that two-story model. So the consequence may be that they might not offer that house type for that subdivision.
I would agree with Dory's sentiment. It's much more likely if the development is still feasible that we would move to single-story product to maintain the density. I know the density at what we're currently proposing is a requirement for us to move forward. I can't speak as to whether or not it's even still feasible at single-story product throughout the entire development. We'd have to revisit it because it's not something we've considered yet.
Okay, all right. Are we done summarizing yet? No?
Staff, the request as it stands, though, and the conceptual plan meets all of our requirements of the Land Development Code, the comprehensive plan. Staff recommends approval with the 8 conditions noted in section 20 and on page 214 of your packet.
Mr. Nunn?
I'm going to go ahead and make a motion.
You
know, there are options and choices of where you want to live and where you don't want to live. This is a really nicely done plan. They've taken a piece of property that has a huge lake and made it work for many different things. I don't personally want to live in a house with a 5-foot setback. That's my choice. And we all have choices of where we want to live. I do hear what Dory's saying, and if we change the setbacks for the 2-story houses, the problem is if I want to live in lot 35, they're not going to have the option to give a 7.5-foot setback for something that's already platted. So I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance O-2505.
All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. McPartland, second. All right. Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Nunn.
Yes.
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Vice Mayor McPartland.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
It's a treasure.
The largest body of water in Florida. Thank you.
Yeah, sir.
Thank you, Doc.
All right, we're on, we have no unfinished business. New business, that item was pulled. Now we're going to city attorney matters.
Yeah, just one thing real quick. As council's aware, our city clerk is probably going to be out a little bit longer than first thought. So I would recommend, since the city clerk is a charter officer, and it's been being handled very nicely by our acting city clerk, I would...
Hang on a minute, sir. Can y'all keep it down in the back there? We're trying to... All right, go ahead, Mr.
I would recommend that the council go ahead and just entertain a motion and take a vote to designate her as acting city clerk in Jeanette's absence. Just since the city clerk has so many, official duties, it would just be cleaner to have it appointed.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to appoint
Can
Ms.
you
Kathy.
hold on a second for that?
Oh, go ahead. What you got?
Mr. Mayor, I asked Mr. Ben to get some financial information together this afternoon. Did you do that?
Yes, sir. I have the numbers of what the two salaries differ and how that differentiates at the current time. I mean, my recommendation is that we kind of potentially from council, I can give you the numbers, or we can just designate a certain percentage above Kathy's current salary or a certain percentage below Jeanette's salary that we go with. It's completely you all's choice.
Okay.
I can provide the numbers if you'd like them.
If we were to say 10% below Jeanette's current salary, would that be a dramatic problem?
So based on the timeline of what we're looking at here, it would just require us to more than likely have the utilization of some reserve funds I don't think either way, as long as this doesn't go into a long duration, and if that happens, things change, but at the current expected duration, it would involve some additional funds needed for budgetary purposes for salary. However, it wouldn't be a major impact, and I can get you all those exact numbers. But it wouldn't be a major impact for reserves. I mean, you're looking, for 3 months, let's just say 3 months at this time, you're looking at around $10,000, $12,000.
All right, I think we need to look at like 6 months, and Councilmember Nunn.
And so at that point, it might be $25,000.
I would recommend that we do something from a salary perspective when you make your motion. And to me, an interim salary during the time that she's the acting city clerk of, let's say, 90% of the current city clerk salary would be appropriate.
To discuss it, she's still doing her existing job too, and
well, that's why I'm saying we should
maybe
bump
even
her up.
more. I mean, maybe we just. I'm thinking we should maybe.
I don't want to pay her twice, but
no. Maybe we should pay her Jeanette's salary for that time period in whole.
I don't have any problem with that at all.
I don't either. I mean, she's doing two jobs, two very busy jobs, and doing the clerk job is not an easy thing. So my motion will be to appoint Kathy the interim city clerk and pay her to the equal of the city clerk's salary.
Can we just make sure it says acting, not interim? Acting.
Okay, acting city clerk at this time with the salary to equal that of the existing clerk.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Vice Mayor McPartlin.
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn.
Yes.
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you so much. City manager matters.
And thank you to Kathy for being willing to do
for
this.
stepping
really.
up. Absolutely.
Thank you. Did the city attorney have any more?
No.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a few things to go over. But the first thing we'll discuss is a discussion regarding the city attorney recruitment and interviews. As we had discussed at the previous meeting, at that time we had 3 candidates. Since that time has happened, we are now down to 2 candidates. So a couple of things to kind of consider tonight and have some discussion on. We can continue to proceed in the manner with 2 candidates and go forward. Do we still want to have the meet and greet portion of this with only 2 candidates? We did do some research on what happened in the past. It was employees, department heads, and council. Council then had the ability to bring any members of the public with them that they wish, but it wasn't full-fledged open to the public, is what we did at the previous time. So if you want to continue to go forward in this process, do we want to continue to do the January 6th evening, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. meet and greet? And then the January 7th is the day for interviews, and we are fully prepared to continue to proceed. Kathy and Cindy, I know, have worked together and have gotten a plan together if that's how we decide to proceed. And the other option is that we could, pause and go back out at a future date. I've had some discussions with our interim city attorney, and as he stated at the previous meeting, and I just wanted to clarify it with him, he is available to us for the duration of however long we need. So those are really the 2 points. I just wanted to bring those out and let you all provide us some direction on how we proceed at this current time.
Right now, we're paying him an hourly rate, correct?
Sorry, you caught me off guard. I thought you were
pay him
talking a little
monthly
longer.
now, so.
So currently, we pay him hourly.
Hourly.
And the anticipated amount is somewhere in the ballpark of 20 hours per week.
Okay.
Is what we're currently doing. I know Mr. Stokes can speak for himself, but I have spoken with him. If it was to be an extended duration, he would consider a renegotiation to a monthly rate to kind of look at, the amount that the city is having to pay.
I think if we do continue down this path, I think that would be a good change, to change him to a monthly salary for it would give us a little more time maybe and him a little more flexibility to work with us. I personally think we should continue the search. I think we should continue to see what's out there, what's available. The applicant that did drop was a very qualified applicant and had some good things. I just think we should keep looking personally.
All right, thank you, sir. Anybody else?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not 100% concerned or convinced that if we try to run the whole process over, we're going to get any more applicants than we got. It would be great if, I thought there was 20 people out there that were interested, that were qualified, but I just don't know. I mean, I don't have any problem with Mr. Stokes. He does a great job. So, I mean, if he continues as our attorney on this basis for 6 more months, I wouldn't be unhappy with that at all. But I don't know if we're going to get more applicants if we go back out. That's my only, I mean, is it a waste of time or not a waste of time? I don't think that we need to do meet and greet. Both of the people that are current applicants for the job have been here before. One of them was actually an employee here, and one of them was interviewed the last time that we hired an attorney, and came in second in the voting. So I think we're familiar with them, or should be. So I don't know that we need to do any a whole big thing other than the interview selection process if we don't go back out. I just don't know if we're going to find more applicants if we go back out.
Yeah, I just think the salary is going to be the sticking point that we can't pay what some of
Well, that's the big
require.
drawing point as well. I
Right.
mean, we're competing against people right now. I mean, the applicant that dropped out was an attorney for St. Lucie, or St. Lucie County, I believe.
St. Lucie.
We can't compete salary-wise with those people.
No.
I mean, the reason that individual probably applied was something other than the money, and so I don't know. We can't compete salary-wise with those people.
Yeah, Ms. Matthews?
I agree with Councilmember Dodd. I think we should just continue on. We have 2 applicants that have met the criteria, have applied for the job. We're not, I agree that I think if we go out there, that we're not going to entice anyone that we hadn't enticed, brought in on the first go-round. And I think the only way of doing that is possibly bringing in a company, and I don't feel that we can justify a $30,000 expenditure right now when we have applicants that qualify and meet the criteria that we put out there. I think we should continue with the process. I also agree with the January 6th. I don't feel that we need to do a meet and greet with these folks and just go into the actual application review and interview type.
All right, thank you. Mrs. McPartland? Here.
All right. I don't want to rush anything, and I'm perfectly happy with Mr. Stokes remaining on. And I mean, maybe we don't get any additional applications if we go out again, but maybe, there was something to do with it being the end of the year coming into the holidays that we didn't get enough applicants. I don't know if that's a thing, but I don't want to rush anything either.
All right.
I agree. We have an amazing attorney sitting down here representing us. We don't have a hurry here.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a matter of being in a hurry. It's the same thing like was spoken on this end by Ms. Matthews and Mr. Dodd, though. It's like we've sent out for attorneys, and we've got a bunch of applicants, and we weeded it down to 3. One of them dropped out. I mean, how many applicants are we going to get if we do it? What would we do? Just Mrs. Stokes would be searching for one, because definitely don't want to be paying a firm to do that.
No, we did that already.
Yeah, so.
Last time.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think we're just kicking ourselves. I think we need to go with what we have already listed. So that would be my sentiment on that. I don't want to wait any longer. And I love Mr. Stokes. He does a great job, and he's willing to be here for as long as we need him. And if we have to wait till after holidays, I don't know. But definitely not having a meet and greet if we were to vote tonight to go stick with the 2 and choose one of those 2. Definitely do not want to have a meet and greet on that, because, like I said, we've already met them. So That's my statement. So what we'll do now is you made a motion, and there was a
I
second.
don't, it
No,
just
there was no
sounds
motion.
like consensus. I think we
We
have
just
a
need a
consensus.
consensus, yeah.
Mr. Benton, you got?
Yes, sir. I think the consensus, and you all correct me if I'm wrong, is to go forward with the two applicants. We will develop a schedule for January 7th. We will do personal interviews with each council member in the morning. In the afternoon, both of those candidates will have an opportunity to interview in front of the public, and then we will have a special call meeting that evening at 5 o'clock, 5:01.
All right, did you have anything else, Mr.?
Yes, sir. I got quite a few things on my list. Or maybe I don't, because he handled acting city clerk. So Citizen Budget Advisory Board, just want to remind Councilmember Matthews and Vice Mayor McPartland that when we need a appointee from each of you all, I would request that we have that, at the coming, at least the next two meetings, whether it's the last one in December or the first one in January, so that we can, because we'll start those meetings at some point in January with the Citizens Budget Advisory Committee. And Ms. Matthews, do you have something?
The acting city clerk, I believe, has my appointee.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
So you're taken care of. So Vice Mayor, if you can just get that to us at some point later this month, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
And then last council meeting, we had a discussion with you all to share with you all that we were doing November Fridays red, Remember Everyone Deployed. And at that time, it was a suggestion, I don't recall who it is, I apologize, but a suggestion that staff look at the possibility of getting a design put together so that employees could purchase shirts as we go forward into the future. So thank you to Lee. He has worked and gotten the design put together. And I just want to share it with you all. What we will do is as we go forward, we'll take orders from employees on this. We won't do it again until November of next year, but the funds that we will have a set price additional to what it costs to make the shirt, and we will make a donation to a veterans organization of the council's choice here locally within the city or whatever we decide for the amount of funds. But it will allow employees to wear these shirts on Fridays, and I just want in November, so we've got a full year to do this, but just wanted to share this. The front will have the city logo on it.
Nice.
So you see that. And then the back, obviously showcasing red, Remember Everyone Deployed. So we'll have a t-shirt option. And then we will also have the red polo that has it as well with the city logo and the American flag on the sleeve. So those will be our options as we go forward. We'll put together kind of a plan on how we're going to handle the orders for this as we go forward. And we'll get that in place. But just wanted to share with you all that Lee had already handled getting the design put together and got it in motion.
What is that on the other arm?
Sorry, I apologize. On this one, the T-shirt.
Does it look like a jarhead symbol?
It's red, and it is the Marine Corps.
I thought that's what it was. I'm just
Now you
saying.
know where it came from.
That's my shirt.
Jarheads. Okay. It's fine.
You can put the navy one on yours. All
right, thank you.
Brian, are you going to offer those to the public as well?
We can if we want to, if that's the direction. It has the city's logo. That's the only little bit of concern that I have, but
okay.
We could offer them to the public without the city logo, or we can have them with the city logo.
It might, it might not be a bad idea to try to advertise this as a citywide event, red on Friday, citywide.
So we'll come back and have some further clarification on the logo portion from you all. Centennial shirts, we had a logo design. We did sell them with it on it, but this does include our, formal logo. But completely you all's choice as we go forward. But just wanted to share that good news with you all and as we continue to go forward. So thank you.
That's it for you, sir? All right, city clerk matters.
I just wanted to say that I appreciate the opportunity to help until Jeanette's able to come back to work.
All right, thank you so much. Council, there's a question that we need to, something that we need to answer here, and that's a holiday, having the 26th off for our employees. They're going to be off the 24th and 25th. Instead of having them come back for one day, we keep them off on the 26th. The central personnel will still be here, and Mr. Benton can share the information about how they would be compensated for that.
Yes, so similar to last year, we did December 23rd off because it happened to fall right, I don't remember the exact day, maybe it's a Monday. But historically, in one of our 12 dedicated holidays in the city, we give employees December 24th and 25th, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off. Last year, we gave employees Monday, December 23rd off. And so what the request this year is Friday, December 26th. It is not a holiday. I want to clarify that.
Right.
We send a memo out to all employees. It is a paid day off for employees. If employees have to work, they are granted personal leave for the number of hours that they work on that specific day for their shift, their regular shift. Obviously, if they go over their regular shift, they are paid overtime as standard protocol, but they will receive 8 hours, 10 hours, or 12 hours based on their regular shift on December 26th if they are working, and they have until the end of our fiscal year. We cut it off typically the second week in September that they have to use their personal time by because we have to close out the books and get all that stuff off of the record. But they will have that amount of time to utilize that if they're mandated to work on the 26th. Otherwise, employees would be off on that day and receive pay for it.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve declaring the 26th as a
paid day
what do you
off.
want to call that? Approved day off?
I would say a paid day off.
Paid day off, as a paid day off.
I second that, paid day off.
All right, second. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, since there's a lot of money involved in this.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Vice Mayor McPartland.
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn.
Yes.
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
And Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. So I have a couple more items here. How about, we've done this before, and I hope to continue this, is on our next meeting on December the 17th.
Definitely.
Is to wear the ugly sweaters.
Already got
Well,
mine.
but they're not ugly. They're beautiful to me, but I'm just saying that's what they call them.
And we expect staff to participate.
Yes, and we expect staff to participate. All right, so do we have a consensus for that?
Do they have to be ugly?
No.
Well, they can be whatever you want, as long as it's Christmas.
I already got
I want to find Mr. Carlisle and get his suit. You remember the suit, right?
Oh, the suit was awesome.
Sure, they have it on Amazon somewhere.
The city manager should have a suit that night,
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, no.
I will have an ugly sweater, sir.
Yes. And we encourage all citizens that attend to wear one too, to enjoy the.
Mr. McPartland, you want to weigh in on this too? Are you good with that?
Oh, I think we should wear the whole outfit.
Oh. Well, you do that and I'll watch you. I'll wear the sweater.
I think I'll be in Panama, so.
All right, so it sounds like we have a consensus on that. I've already covered it, so I'm good. Mr. Nunn.
I'm good, thank you.
Ms. Matthews.
I just want to do a couple little, just a shout out here. I like to follow high school athletics and do some things, and Shark Nation, man, has showed out the past couple of months here, and I wanted to give a shout out to Jackson Weiss, who is a sophomore. He placed 8th overall out of 95 boys from around the state in the 2025 2A Golf State Championship, and this is his back-to-back season that he placed in the top 10. So a shout out to Jackson. That's pretty good for a sophomore. And Addison Milliken, who also represented the Lady Sharks golf in the 2A Florida High School Athletics. And out of 800 girls in the 2A class, only 95 qualify. And in the 95, she placed 39th overall. So that's pretty phenomenal, I think. And also a shout out to the Shark swimming team. And the girls' teams, they finished 25th overall, and the boys' team finished 7th overall in the state. Both, again, amazing athletes. And a couple of the boys, I'm not sure if they're brothers or if they're cousins, but Lewis and Lee St. Petery, Lewis actually brought home 2 state championships in the 100 butterfly and the backstroke, and their relay caused them to finish 7th. And so, and then Lee placed 4th in the freestyle. And then Aubrey Durham and Matthew Petit placed 4th in the diving. I just think it's phenomenal that we might have some Olympians here.
There you go.
All right.
That's it for you, ma'am? Mr. Dodd.
The Sebastian High School Prism concert is this month, and I'm not sure whether it's too late to get tickets or not, but if you've not been to one of those, it's actually much better than you'd think that a high school band will do. It's really, really put together well. So I recommend you go. I'd like to send a personal get well to Jeanette. I think it's she's missed, and it would be great to get her back as soon as we can. So I know we all send her a goodwill and good wishes. I do want to say one thing about one of the things that was said by one of our speakers this evening. House Bill 105 is not good for the business community in the city. It's not good for the city because of some of the conditions that are within that House bill. So if anybody listened to the comments that were made about House Bill 105 and how it was going to serve the business community of the city, it's not, because most of the business community within Sebastian is not interested in suing the city over stupid stuff. And it's really only going to be good for people who would like to sue the city over stupid stuff.
Oh, that's big.
And so it's one of those things that we need to all come together and try to do something with. So thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Mr. McPartland.
I'm just happy that I could participate by Zoom because I'm into spreading joy and not germs. So hopefully I'll see you all on the 6th at the parade as well as Light Up Night on Friday.
All right. Feel better soon.
Thank you.
All right. So having said all that, we are now adjourned.